Do we have audio now? Testing, 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 testing. Testing, audio 1. Level check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Oh, I'm on headphones. I can't hear anything. Check. I think we're good. Alright, so I am going to write a spec. And I have headphones on here because I am listening to DIFM's new disco channel. And if the microphone picks up on that, it will get YouTube flagged for copyright violation. So one reason I haven't been doing some of this JavaScript spec work is because sometimes I like to listen to music as I'm coding, and when I'm live streaming I haven't been able to do it. But if I have these headphones on, maybe I can get away with it. We shall see. So what am I doing today? I'm planning on... let me go back a little bit. The JavaScript work I've been doing, I've been assuming that I could broadcast as many messages as I wanted to from a server on the network to an iPad. And I've been stuck in the past few days because of this weird rendering slowdown, which I assumed was because I was allocating memory inefficiently. But I actually think now that it's actually in the network stack that's choking on all these messages. If they get too large, then the message handler stalls, and it's not in my code. I think it's in the operating system level, so I can't do anything about it. So the approach to take to this might be to switch from a push model to a pull model, which means I need to rewrite the way that I am saving my display data and make it available on the server, which happens to dovetail nicely with the piece of work I had to do after this, which is to write the file system playback, record, save interface. So it all meshes together in a way. So now I had to figure out how to do that. Let me check over here. Stanley S says something. Hi, Stanley. Thanks for watching. I don't know how you found this channel. But, all right. So I'm running a JavaScript spec. This means I need to write down some conditions about how I think this is going to be achieved. So I'm going to pull up my Quiver. Go to display desktop mode. Go to full screen. And I guess I'll make some design notes in here. So I have some existing design notes already. Oops, this is the wrong display I want. And so I have a piece of paper here if I want to write to it. Let me adjust the volume on this because it's still a little bit too loud. That's better. Now I can hear myself think. At 120 beats per minute. Okay, so I am going to create a note. But, actually this might be a good stage to actually write this down on paper first. I need to get another whiteboard. So what I'm going to do is list... I should buy a whiteboard, rather. Let me list some of the things I want to do. Alright. Here's a piece of paper. Let me go this... Alright. So, first thing. I want to write a JavaScript module that will... Well, first I need to save display list from main web app to server. Server, is this how it's going to work? I can push to the server no problem because the server doesn't have the iOS issue. Server saves latest snapshot with timestamp. That's 1, 2. Server provides socket issue, isn't it? This is a listening thing. Socket polling provides latest display list snapshot via web service. or socket. I think web surface is going to work if the socket might block. So we'll do this as a web service, which will be laggier, but it should be more consistent. Because I don't think HTTP requests block in this way. 3, server writes display list as frame data to log on. And this task actually has 2 things. This touches on the file system organization for sessions, which ties into what is a session. And I know that I wrote something about that someplace. Let me pull up a browser and check our wiki. So this is in this repo, this wiki. I had written some stuff on the file system design. Is this correct? I was going over this with Ben, the guy I'm working with, to see if this corresponds to our idea of what a learning session is comprised of. I'm going to print this out. And how many pages is this? 30 pages. That's not actually... There's no print. Oh, that's right, you can't do this on GitHub. Okay. Well, so I'll just grab this and paste it into Quiver. Let me add a note to this. What should I call this? Spec. Display list. Pull. Save. Pull. I'm just going to use this as... Oops. I just pasted that in there so I could save it. System design draft. Let's print. And this should be fine. Should I do this double-sided? Okay, I'll just print this out. I hope that works. I don't need that anymore. And let me copy down what I've just written here on this page. Goals. Save display list. Or actually, may do this in this format. Is that how that works? Yep. Save display list from main presenter. Serve latest display list from node server via web service. I worry about the latency, but I don't know what's going to be. If anything, it will be delayed by a couple frames. That should be okay. Let's see. What was the next thing? Let's see. Save display list frame. Display list to logger. to saved playback file for later playback. Related goals, file system design and implementation for a sessions-based for, let's say, classroom sessions. Whatever that means. Let me just go downstairs and grab that printout. I'll be right back. This microphone should be live. Hello, kitty. You a good kitty? There we go. Oh, and then as a bonus, here's a recipe that my sister sent me for Taiwanese braised pork rice bowl. Yum. Yeah, we're going to make that this for Christmas. All right, so I printed 2 copies out. Oh, this is a different one. This is the Shanghai style pork belly. That's what I needed to do today. I need to go to the market up in Manchester and grab some of that stuff. So anyway, here's my sessions draft. I want to diagram some stuff out of it. So I need to set up controller mate so I can have some buttons that go back and forth between these. So anyway, I'm going to break some stuff out of this. Time to read carefully. Sessions can be loaded and replayed side by side. Sessions playback should be random access playback in real time. I'm not sure how. Okay, so scrubbable. So what is a session? What do we have in terms of our components? Our data streams, we have ptrack data, fake track, messages, piece state over time, visual state on time over time, video, session definition. So what I'm thinking about specifically for what is a session is how do I refer to a particular playback stream, like a day from now or a week from now. So, and how do we do this so you don't have to remember a file name or type in something that's like, 1 million characters long. So, but we do have these things. We have the unit. We have each unit, these are logical. A unit is like a subject. And each subject goes on for several days. I don't know what the order of this is. We have a curriculum, which is the set of interactive games plus their variants. And also, this is like kind of like a kit. This is like our software kit. Interactive games, activities that use the interactive games. And the activities each day has a set of activities associated with it. Okay, so the curriculum, the unit is the overall organizing principle. curriculum has days, which points to, it's an array of days. Day 1, day 2, day 3, etc. And each one of these has a set of pre-configured, or a set of activities that are comprised of the interactive games and variants. The implication of days is that these progress in a linear, or progress in order, but are randomly select, or it can be are selectable in any order. I wrote down as a challenge, we need to design a data format to handle both the track-based timestamp nature of the session data in a format that can be persistently stored, then easily retrieved for real-time restreaming. The initial pass can be uncompressed. At this time, we are not focused on compression or bandwidth conservation on our dedicated gigabit Ethernet LAN, unless it becomes a problem. We need a teacher-friendly way to identify and retrieve a particular session for playback. That's what I'm talking about. Combination of unit, day plus activity, and other human-readable metadata should provide that context for a busy teacher to quickly select what they need to replay or find out what they just did. Then the server backend that can handle the storage and retrieval of this session data with a corresponding API. So, okay. So now that I have this in place, I'm just sort of thinking, what is the next step? I'm kind of stuck right now on the, how do you define, from the teacher's perspective, let's set up a couple of frameworks, frameworks of understanding, let's call it. From the teacher perspective, they know the unit, e.g. States of matter, the day, e.g. First day, second day, and the activity, and arbitrarily a configured interactive game with a set of starting properties. Furthermore, that's the starting point. The actual session consists of what happened during that day's run. And there's an ambiguity. The run. This is a calendar day, which may have, I need to change the naming of it. So what I'm thinking about is, like, when I say the day, I'm thinking that a curriculum is part of a curriculum. So a curriculum consists of this. You have a unit, like states of matter, and let's say you have 5 days of states of matter. that are the ideal curriculum is day one you learn this, day two you learn something else that's based on what you learned yesterday, day three the same thing, day four the same thing, day five some sort of summary thing. And then the activities of that day are designed to meet the learning goals within that part of the curriculum. So the idea of a day is really more of a teacher concept, of providing a kind of sequence in which you're learning. You may decide, though, like let's say it's day three, and instead of doing the day three content, your class really needs to revisit the day two concepts because for whatever reason they weren't sticking. So you run day two again on the third day of that unit's run. I'm not sure what the teachers actually call this. But I'm thinking, I'm trying to think of what the reference point is for teachers. So they need to know I guess the essential data is when they're opening the program, they want to know they're going to open up which unit, essential data for playback. Which unit, which day, what units or what activities were run that day. Activity naming, this will be like D1 activity name. Maybe D1 maybe that will be the naming convention, just so you know. Embed the day and activity sequence, or activity with the name. And then session, that would be D1A1 activity name 1 first session. And so these would be listed in order with a time and a duration. So these are things that can be saved. Now from format this a bit. Teacher perspective. Frameworks understanding. Then I forgot to note when I started this in my timesheet. Let me pull that up real quick. This is the virtual co-working chat yet again, or stream, I should say. And the idea of this is to create some background noise for other people who are working on stuff. So the sound of someone else working in the room might help you work. This helps me because I work at home and have no one to talk to about this stuff. So in a way, this provides an outlet for me to be a little bit more engaged in doing work that's otherwise kind of hard for me to get into when I'm working by myself and have no one to talk to about it. So I'm going to say I started this at 3:30, let's say. It's been a little over 30 minutes, or over 15 minutes, but that's fine. So, all right, so we've got the teacher's perspective, and now we have the programmer's perspective here. Programmer perspective. And so what I want to know, what do I want to know from here? Let me put this back on. Let's listen to some music. What's the question I have to ask? The programmer's perspective. I had written all this stuff down. So the file system unit, let's call it FS unit. Within the unit, there are a number of data items. Curriculum. Well, the curriculum is sort of a, I guess that's sort of that's invisible to the users. Let me add the third. In addition to the programmer perspective, we have the author perspective. I'm going to make this all indentable text. So anyway, so in the curriculum we have, how am I going to say this? How do I define an activity? Numbered folder. The number folder, there's, what did I say this was? Activity names. I'll just go with the same thing. Activity 1. Activity configuration. So we have the curriculum. I say the games are stored in server file system. Games are stored in modules. What is in the activity configuration? I guess there's things like the module name, module settings, or game module settings, this activity. So that's the curriculum. So we have curriculums, activities, and days. This is the day number. Activity 1 for day 1. 2. Activity 2 for day 2. E.g. particle states of matter. Curriculum, so that's everything that's in this curriculum. And then over here, what do we have? Missing anything in here? Let's call it sessions. And we will name these, as I was saying before, as D1A1 activity name. Maybe these are by date. (2016) 12/12. A activity name O2. D1A2 activity 3 or O1. No, wait, is that right? Do these, if the number changes, we want these in the order they were run when they sort alphabetically. D1A2, well, let's say you went back to and ran D1A1 again. How do I ensure that this sorts in the order I want? I guess I need to put the, no, that's not right. This has to be leading. That's the way it has to be. Oh, there's also D1A1. Just trying to make this parses out to make it more legible. So that should sort. We might need to do a classroom designation too. It's probably a group. So all these are the same, but for sessions, we need class ID. Unless we put it right in. I think we'll group it like this. All right, so that seems like a reasonable first pass at find the file system. And this log should be parsable for playback. There's another one. I guess we can put it all in the same log file. All right, so I think that's reasonable. So let's see. Define a rudimentary file system. Layout. And this brings us about to 4 p.m. So half an hour. Now what happens next? Well, let's look at the author perspective. What does an author need to know? They define stuff in the unit. Actually, I guess I call this units. Maybe instead of class name, we'll call it group name. Just because class ID reminds you of other things. But this is what I'm looking at in terms of units. So in the curriculum folder, we have all the definitions of what runs. Then we need to have some sort of UI for that. Okay, I'm going to copy this into, oops. I'm purposely avoiding using the word day here in this directory structure listing. But this I can put back into my server design. Where should I stick that? Session definition, server addressability. This is really my notes. System layout. Does this look right? Guess so. I also need to add class ID too. Session, ptrack day, session definitions. Each set of saved session data is grouped by class ID, since the same group or since multiple groups of kids may be run through the same activity. So, all right. So I think this would handle everything. From the authoring perspective, they find stuff in unit curriculum. There's also the researcher perspective. Look in sessions, class ID, etc. for the logged data. And log data is also playback data and contains any embedded stuff. All items in the logged data are time-stamped. Time-stampled? Time-stamped. Okay. That looks all right to me. Let's fix this. What? Why is this read-only now? First day, second day for curriculum. So we find this. The essential data for playback is now unit name, class ID, date, log. Let's see, playback file. metadata for playback file. To view, to show in UI, this would be things like long name, time recorded, duration, time duration, description, descriptive note. Where's the descriptive note saved? Probably in the log file. Guessing it'd be part of the beginning of the log file for the log metadata. So now we also have something like log file format, which I will not worry about right now. I keep hitting. So log file format. What's next on my list of things? So I think I need to look at the API stuff now too. What do I need to implement? Let's go back to this list. I tangle my mouse. Go to webcam, oxcam, or what happened to that view I had before? That's the one. So the next thing to do, it's kind of dark in here. Oh yes, the display list. So right now, let me just go write out the list of instructions I think needs to happen. And so on presenter, we want to do a display list capture, which gives us a display list object. And then we want to send to server save display list server timestamps. And this can be a Unisys call. What I'm thinking now is whether or not I have to worry about how I'm going to timestamp these. I'm going to timestamp it with server time, time received. What I was wondering is if I play it back, what if the server time is not exactly the same as when it's sent, or if packets arrive out of order? If it's the server time is enforcing it. And so there shouldn't be issues like with each client producing its own timestamp, which could be out of sync. And the server will process things, probably in order. Even if there's multiple threads running, the server time probably advances a little bit. And then how do I feed this back? Anyway, so this gets written to the log. Let's call it write to log right now. Some sort of data object. Although write to log is probably not the right word for it. What we want to do is something more like, this is the API stuff. So anyway, this just repeats. Let's just do this for now. And then on the playback client, what we want to do is during playback, okay, there's two modes. There's display client live. Request packet via web service. This is the big change. Request the display list from the web service. And then call display list render. And this is on a timer of some kind. I'm wondering now if each socket needs to maintain the server. WebSocket remembers if data has changed since last request. And that should be straightforward. Display list render already works. Display list capture already works. It's just a saving infrastructure that I don't have yet. But then there's also display client playback. The cat just made a terrible smell. I guess it was the other cat. So display list playback. What's going to happen here? Request list of available sessions for class. Last day, last week, so we can filter it. Select playback file. I guess there could be multiple streams running. Call playback session. Which should returns a unique URL for playback web service. Might work. And then the same thing happens here. Request packet from the playback URL. Display list render. There needs to be some sort of signal, I suppose, when the file is ended. Or how do you tell the server not to stop playback? Maybe there needs to be some sort of keep alive that's sent. How do I request a web service? Question. I don't think I have code that does that. Except for rudimentary code that has not been packaged in any way. Display plus chat. Anyway, so do I have Sublime text open still? Nope. So I've got Sublime here. I have that in my Uniset network connection code, which would be network connect. Yeah, I have this. Is that even the best way of doing it? XML HTTP open address get. I don't like this magic code here. So how would I package this in? It would be a call like, set this up, this new HTTP request. Well, I guess I just need one. It should just return the data. Where does the data get bin to us? When the ready state change, if the ready state's 4 and status is okay. Okay, this is the actual payload. Alright. Okay, so we have that. Alright, so let's make some notes here. So now that we have this in there, log file tbt, I do have some log reading code from a long time ago that emits the playback stuff. Brain is starting to freeze. Maybe the music isn't helping. Alright, so put this aside for now. Ugh, ears feel weird now. So the next phase to do, I think, would be to update. Today's what, 2016, 12, or 22? So saving the display list. Let's start making a list of what code changes to make. To save the display list, what do I need to do? I said there needs to be implement a server command. So in step, or actually this could be unisys. Step unisys, implement save display list. Also implement, or in step web serve, implement get display list. Oh wait, no, I don't want, that's not in step webs. No, that's in step. Get display list web service. And all the log writing stuff doesn't need to happen right away. So that's actually fairly focused. So let's rewrite these goals now as in step unisys implement server save display list. Yep. And then in step web serve implement, what should I call it? Display list live web service. All right. I think that would do it. So what time is it now? 1600. This has been 15 minutes. Write a to-do list for the server implementation minimum spec. And then the rest of these things, well, they can go away too. This is the bone. This is the next phase. Once I can get, this is really to fix iOS network or workaround. This is a workaround, not a fix. Run for iOS network message bogginess. So this is the minimum I need to do, and then I can close that part off, the display list saving, at least for now, and then go to playback and restore, which is the next big module to make. So this is the thinking I wanted to do today. So it's not, I'm going to implement it right now. 16:15. I just wanted to gain some clarity on what I needed to do for this next phase of the project. I have to do a lot of Christmassy things now. So, okay, that was fairly productive. I got some design thinking done. I've written them down. I've clarified some stuff to do. Let me grab a link to this note. Add it to my daily continuity here. We're done with that. We did that. Oh. Let's see. Clean up task. But we also need to, you can't see what I'm doing over here. One thing we need to do is rewrite display list to use pull rather than unisys push. That's the next step. See. See this. I will do that a little bit later today, I think. All right, so I am going to call it now. I have to do some cleaning and some wrapping. My sister is arriving tomorrow, so I need to get that all in place. And this will help my brain relax a little bit. And as I work up the next day energy to do this bit of coding, it seems like it'd be pretty easy though. But my eyes hurt. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll post this to the Coworking archives, and maybe the Coworking archives, because these streams are difficult to understand without any of the context that one normally would do in a presentation video. These are better for background noise things. and people were interested in process. All right, I will see y'all later.